everyone, and welcome back to this channel, OHL in 20. This is where we break down all 20 OHL teams, the stats, the predictions, and maybe even some trades. We also like to have a little fun here at OHL in 20, and I thought it'd be perfect since NHL 25 just dropped yesterday to do some little experiments to see what it might be like for OHL fans out there playing in the new NHL 25. Now, obviously, we heard that the Hughes brothers were the cover of the NHL 25 game. And the first spark that came to my mind was, maybe it's going to be Connor Bedard, former Regina Pat of the WHL and the CHL. Or maybe we were going to see a surprise appearance from the Kachuk brothers of the Florida Panthers and the Ottawa Senators. But no, it was the Hughes brothers who made an appearance for the NHL 25 cover. So, for any OHL or CHL fans out there who might play those games, who is your team and what are you expecting in the new game? Obviously, we have the new additions from the Brantford Bulldogs, who also made an appearance on NHL 24, but we also have an appearance not just from the Utah Hockey Club, but from the Brampton Steelheads that just relocated from Mississauga. And of course, we can't forget about all of the NHL drafts that just happened. So a lot of the players will either be on the roster but eligible to get drafted to an NHL team or get relocated from a player movement to an NHL team or go back into free agency. But this is going to be an interesting little experiment. I only have the highest game I have up to right now at this very moment is NHL 23, and that one still has the Hamilton Bulldogs on it. I skipped a year for NHL 24, just waiting for potentially an Arizona Coyotes relocation, which did end up happening. But at least in this game for myself, the Utah Hockey Club will be on there, the Brantford Bulldogs, and the Brampton Steelheads. So that's going to be very interesting. And there's also a lot of, if you go through a lot of the rosters of these junior hockey teams, you'll notice that a lot of players, I don't even know if they're even in the league anymore. I mean, you look at David Jesus, who was on the Oshawa Generals, who then got traded to Niagara, and then I think he got traded or no, he signed to some university or college team. So he's not in there anymore. A Rosenswag. A lot of United Greistag fans might be recognize that name of Rosenswag. Antoine Thornton of the Barrie Colts. I kind of did a little fun switching around with Antoine Thornton to Niagara and Rosenswag to Barrie, so that was kind of fun. Connor Punnett. Now, obviously, that was a big trade that the Barrie Colts made, sending him to Oshawa. He also just signed with the Dallas Stars of the NHL. You look at players like Bo Akey, I don't even know if he's on, I mean, he's definitely on the NHL 25 game coming up, but I don't even think he's on an OHL junior hockey roster anymore after signing with the Los Angeles Kings. And I believe he now actually plays with the Ontario Reign out of the AHL now. So that's interesting. But what are your thoughts? What are you looking forward to the most in NHL 25? I know a lot of you hope for Zamboni mode when remember in the NHL 2K11 game when you could actually operate the Zamboni to clean the ice during the intermissions. That's also one that you've all requested for. Get rid of the shootout for goodness sakes. We all love some competitive hockey. We want continuous overtime, whether it's playoff hockey or just the season. Get rid of the shootout. I just want overtime. That makes hockey way more enjoyable and competitive at the same time. A lot of you fans also out there would also like to see some warm-ups before a game. Actually, you get to either watch the warm-ups. It's kind of like the animation that they have, or you actually get to play in the warm-ups, which is really cool. I hope they add that soon, whether it's in NHL 25 or in the same game. A lot of you fans also say that they've just copied and pasted the NHL 24 mode over into NHL 25, making some tweaks. But I'm looking forward more to the NHL 25 just because I'm a big fan of relocations and just to have the new Utah Hockey Club, the Mississauga Steelheads to Brampton to from the Hamilton Bulldogs to Brantford. That's going to be cool. And we're also going to cover it in another video though. But what about some potential OHL expansion cities? That's going to be really cool. We're going to do that in a separate video. But in terms of this video specifically, what are you looking forward to the most in NHL 25? And if you are playing in an OHL or WHL or even QMJHL mode in the CHL, what would you like to see differently? I personally love franchise mode, but you can only add teams from like other leagues around the world with NHL teams and with teams you actually can create in create a team mode. But I would love the option to add OHL, WHL, and QMJHL teams, junior hockey teams to those franchises. So say you're creating an NHL franchise for a club, you want to add, I don't know, you can add as many teams as you want. I want to combine a franchise with all 32 NHL teams and all 20 OHL teams. Unfortunately, you can't do that just because the amount of team capacity that you're allowed to add in specific divisions and conferences. But I would absolutely love to see the combination of junior hockey teams in with NHL teams in franchise mode. You can do it in a season mode, but you can't do it in a franchise mode. So I hope that gets adjusted. And so again, what are your suggestions? What would you like to see in NHL 25 or maybe even in the future for future NHL games? Or maybe there's even games from on the PlayStation 4 that aren't even compatible for PlayStation 5 that you would love to see. I really loved the NHL 17, 18, and 19 games. Fantastic soundtrack. I just love the overall vibe of those games. I actually created OCAA college teams here in Ontario of Canada into NHL. So I created all these different OCAA teams, but then I did a fantasy draft and had every team choose an NHL player to play at their college. It was fantastic. I loved it. By the way, this isn't NHL related or hockey related at all, but Madden football, please add CFL mode in there if you could. Greatly appreciate it. And if there is somebody, please mention down in the comments for me that there is. I just love the CFL too. I love competitive Ontario Canadian rivalries, but hockey is where it's at. So thank you everyone for tuning into this video. Be sure to hit like and subscribe, tell your friends, share the link, and we'll see you in the next video.